What if you don't make it through the dark night of the soul in this lifetime? Most of us must have heard of or experienced the phenomenon called the dark night of the soul at some point in life. And we know that it's such an intense experience that even when we try to avoid it, it persists. We try to suffocate it and cover it up, but it persists. Even though we attempt to mask it and pretend it doesn't exist, it still exists. While some of us look to religion for solace, others turn to spirituality or psychology for solace, and others turn to addiction and mindless extracurricular activities. Shamans, saints, and mystics have all used different words to characterize this egocentric human battle throughout history. But they all shared the tendency to emphasize the necessity of consciously developing our divine potential. The dark night of the soul is a time of complete spiritual desolation, alienation, and emptiness, during which one feels wholly cut off from the divine. The emptying of significant emotional trauma or weight is all that the night of the soul really is. Lately, the dark night of the soul idea is now employed in a far broader context. It's a term used to express what one might refer to as the collapse of one's sense of purpose in life, or eruption of a profound sense of meaninglessness into one's life. In certain instances, the inner condition is highly similar to what is typically referred to as depression. There's no longer any meaning to anything, and nothing makes sense. Sometimes an outside event like a catastrophe sets things off. It might start whenever somebody close to you passes away, especially if it happens suddenly, such if your child passes away. Or when for some reason, the meaning you'd placed in your life, your actions, your accomplishments, your plans, what's significant, and the purpose that you've given your life crumbles. You'll feel that God or everything you once believed in abandon you as you move from point A to point B as you journey through that night. Even if you don't think of yourself as a follower or believer in religion, you will experience a terrible emptiness that makes you feel as though your life force has been snatched away. This is the purpose of the darkness. It's one of the finest types of soul work. You'll feel completely out of your mind in the pitch black. You'll be forced to reevaluate everything you believe to be true about life. Your fundamental idea as a human will crumble and fall apart. You'll experience confusion, bewilderment, anger, desperation, helplessness, and hopelessness. Paradoxically, during this intense period of cognitive dissonance, things will make sense to you. It can be challenging to comprehend, but you're not required to do anything in the dark. To you, it will be done. There is no rational explanation for what transpires during the dark night of the soul. It is the revelation of a vast, limitless secret that's revealed to a select few. A truly dark night of the soul profoundly affects you and entirely transforms you. Your views, perceptions, and old sense of purpose in life, or, in rare instances, even your ego, are always stripped away from you, for the better, as you emerge from a dark night. There must be a total annihilation and destruction of everything you believe would make you happy before any meaningful progress or healing can occur. Most people who go through the dark nights realize that nothing, not money, political, social, or even spiritual things, can make them happy anymore. And this marks the beginning of the cleansing procedure. The dark night of the soul is a subjective experience for each person. Sometimes you make it through the darkness and come out of it in a different state of consciousness. Life will have a purpose once more, but it no longer has a mental purpose that you can always explain. Some people, though, find themselves lost and overpowered in the dark. Each of us enters the darkness carrying a particular set of problems we must overcome. The affected person is urged by the night to remain in the present, not confined or deluded by the past, and also not locked up in a fixed and protective idea about the future. The most difficult problem is to allow the process to take place, but this is the only release from the strain of the night. Sadly, not everybody will make it through the darkness of the soul when they don't understand how to journey through that, and the suffering we feel during this journey is a blessing. Some people find the process too complicated, and the darkness will swallow them up. For those who do live, however, these survivors have given their lives new purpose by creating them for themselves. A dark night of the soul is a type of initiation that ushers you into a new stage of life. You can have a few gloomy nights in your life, since you're constantly growing and living life to the fullest. You can keep returning to it no matter what you do to escape the darkness. If you can't find the answers, you'll return repeatedly and keep going in circles. That is what every one of us experiences. You can overcome it, though, for any number of reasons. Only stop if you're still partially motivated by unfulfilled aspirations, partially dissatisfied with the way things are, or partially not entirely done. To make it through, one must endure the dark night, accept it, take note of its attributes, and allow oneself to be impacted by it. On the other hand, it's not beneficial to become overly dependent on it or allow it to rule. Although you don't need to be the knight who vanquishes dragons and attempts to banish evil, you could use all the inner fortitude you can summon. This may be the ideal time to embark on an inner journey, to begin exploring inside your own best self, where an abundance of love awaits you. Even if your wants still exist and you're not yet wholly unsatisfied. Since the problem nagging you is no longer concealed from you, seeing it helps to solve it. You may nurture or desire to live the satisfaction that does not conflict with the darkness while giving the dark night its due. You can be aware of your sadness and still have happiness. Therefore, accept the darkness, pay attention to it, and weed out any subliminal signs of resistance. Then look for any visuals obscured by the grimy surroundings or attitude. Those pictures might be the key to your freedom and upcoming service. The illness is caused by the disease, and the symptom is the clue to future behavior. You might also conceal the rewards waiting for you if you lessen the unpleasant aspects because they're upsetting and disheartening. Additionally, as each healing experience occurs, you become more accepting of the idea that your ego mind has deceived you in numerous other ways. Then, a whirlwind of previously suppressed hurts and traumas emerges. You will supersede and rise in this lifetime if you're engaged in this process. You may just let go, and momentum will take care of the rest, like a Ferris wheel riding over the first hill. Now unwind and give your higher self the reins.